Okay, today I'm going to do a scrappy strip card that was inspired by Bruno Bertucci, and you can use any DSP and coordinating cardstock. I am using what was a celebration item, the Lily Impressions Designer Series paper for mine, and I just took a sheet. Let me show you. I just took a sheet like this and just started cutting it into strips, and then I used the back of it for the other color. So this is what I use, but you can use any paper you want, coordinating cardstock, however you want to do it. This is just the way I did it. I'm trying to use up some of my designer series paper that you can't get anymore, so I have plenty of it. So I thought, well, I'll make some of these cards. So I cut all my pieces, and I just kind of randomly, cut it into angles. So I'm going to take them off. What I'm going to do is glue them to this piece of cardstock. This is Blackberry Bliss, and it is, I wrote it down, 5 1/4 by 4, and you'll need 2 pieces this size. And I'll show you why. So I'm going to take liquid glue and just start adhering these to the front of the card. The first one I want on the straight edge, like so, and I think I'm going to put this underneath so it doesn't get all over my work surface. And I just lined it up on the edge. So we're going to trim this anyway to a little bit smaller size after we've put all the pieces on. So start with that color. And then this is the back. And we're going to put it and leave a space in between. You don't have to, but I like the way it looked with a little space in between. It's like so. Okay, and you're going to want to try to keep the spaces the same. You take your next piece. You're going to use the opposite side. Come on. Try to get it out, and then you get too much. Oh, goodness. Okay. You can use, pretty much any designer series paper for this. You can use, I've seen different colored cardstock where they've made a rainbow effect that was really pretty. You can make smaller pieces. It's a very versatile design. I really like it. And it's an easy card to make. You just cut in strips and adhering them to a piece of cardstock. Very simple. I'm sure some of you have seen Kylie and Bruno Bertucci's Scrappy Strips cards. I kind of like this concept. You can, once you've done this and it's dried, you can cut it up and do other things with it. You don't have to leave it this big. I want to remind you that you've got until June 2nd in the old catalog and the mini catalog to purchase things that are retiring. There's a retiring list on my blog, so you can see what's retiring. Some of it's on sale, but it goes pretty fast, especially if it's on sale at a reduced price. Come back. Oops, let's do it this way. Don't want to mix them up or it'll look funny. So put that one there. And this piece. Now's a perfect time to sign up as a demonstrator. I'd love to have you on my team. If you sign up as a demonstrator, you can have your starter kit can be the pre-order, which is really nice, and then there's no shipping on it. There's a little gap left over, but we're going to trim, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to set that aside so it can dry a little bit before I trim it, because I don't want to trim it and get glue all over my trimmer. So we're going to work on the inside of the card. I have that ready. I stamped a piece of Whisper White with my sentiment, and the sentiment came from Path of Petals, and it's "Your kindness has touched my heart" right here. That's what I stamped on the inside with Blackberry Bliss. And then I cut a little strip of the DSP and a piece of the Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and I'm going to just put it right on the edge so it looks like this on the inside. So first I'm going to glue these pieces together. Got to keep this here, I'm going to have a gluey mess. So I'm going to glue this strip, which is 3 5/8 by 3/8, and the Blackberry Bliss is 3 5/8 by 1/2 inch. I'm just going to glue it just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to glue this to the edge of my panel. And this piece is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Just do it like that. And then if it hangs over a little bit, if you want, you can trim it off. It doesn't hang over much, but we'll trim it anyway. There we go. And then you're going to take this, glue it to the inside of your card. This card base is, this one is, I believe it's Coastal Cabana. Yes, I used Coastal Cabana, and it is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. And we're just going to adhere this to the inside of our card. Just like so. Okay. I stamped this, of course, with the Blackberry Bliss ink. Okay, we're going to set that aside for a minute, and then I'm going to bring in my other pieces that I have here. Okay, I have a piece of the tulle ribbon. This is Whisper White, and I tied it in a bow and then trimmed it, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. I cut this piece out of the center of this, and this is 5 1/4 by 4, and I used the Stitch So Sweetly dies, the largest, for this piece. Let's cut it right out of the center. And for this piece, it's a piece of Whisper White, and I stamped it with the So Sentimental stamp set, and I used I Can't Thank You Enough for that. And I used the next size die to die cut that out after I stamped it. And I'm just going to glue it to the center of the Blackberry Bliss piece. just like this. Oops. Okay. And I'm sure you're wondering how I got these little holes there, those little slits. Well, I will tell you. It's a secret. I took this punch. I don't remember what it's called. I should have written it down. But I just turned it over, kind of made a mark where I wanted that, and slipped it in here like so, and punched. And I did it to both sides. I'll put in my blog which punch that is, what that punch is called. The reason I did that is because I wanted to thread my ribbon through here. Just like this. This ribbon fits perfectly in those little slots. Okay, just like so. Don't you think that looks cute? Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals on the back, but first I'm going to put a piece of tape on that so it doesn't move. Just like so. I don't want it moving. And then I'm going to put my dimensionals on the back of there. Oops. Got a few off of there. Oh goodness. They're stuck together. Well, sticky little buggers. And I'm going to put one right in the center, just to keep it from collapsing. Okay? Now, let's get back to this. I'm going to take this and I'm going to trim it down. Let me tell you what I trimmed it down to. I trimmed it down to about 5 1/8 by 3 7/8 approximately. And I took this trimmer and I'm going to trim this down on this edge because that edge has the Blackberry Bliss showing. So I'm going to trim off, because this edge looks good. So I'm going to trim off down to 5 1/8. It's like so. Okay. Perfect. And then this side needs to be 3 7/8. So I'm going to trim a very thin amount off of here because I need to trim this edge too. So I'm just going to trim a really thin amount off of this edge. Okay. See, that makes a little bit of a mess. It's all down in there. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over, and now I'm going to make it 3 7/8 right here. Okay, that looks really good. Get this out of the way. Clean that up later. Okay, now we're going to take this piece and we're going to adhere it to this piece, just like so. So now you have your little border all the way around. So I think I'll put the glue on this side since that has a big hole in the middle of it. So make sure you don't get too close to the edge. Go like that. And then I'm going to adhere this to the front of my card. Slip piece. Just like so. Okay. Okay. That looks really good. Okay, now I'm going to take my sentiment, peel the backings off of my dimensionals. Put it off to the left or the right and down towards the bottom. Let's make sure our sentiment is straight. And then I'm going to take some tape. And, oops, I forgot that I put a little glue dot over there. So my bow would stay put. So sticks to each other. Stick the bow down. Turn it over. And tape those ends in place. If it's too long, just trim it off, just like so. Just make sure we're straight. And then I attach this with dimensionals. Make sure you put enough because you got a big hole in the middle there. I'm usually pretty generous with my dimensionals because I definitely don't want my card to collapse in the mail. That looks pretty good. Okay, now we'll take our card base. And we're almost done. This is probably one of the simplest card techniques I've seen. It takes a little bit of cutting, but boy, you can use up a lot of your designer series paper with this card design. I really like it. There you go, that part. Now, just to add a little touch, I took some of the Noble Peacock rhinestones. I don't know if they still have them, but I certainly like them, and I wanted to use these pink ones. So I put one there, and then I put one right here, and then I decided one needed to be on the card somewhere, so let's put it right up. Yeah, I don't know. Right there. How's that? There you go. Scrappy strip thank you card. Easy peasy. Hope you have a blessed day. Click the little down arrow if you want to order anything. My host code is there on my blog, take you to my blog, and if you want to sign up as a demonstrator, you can go to my blog or you can go just to my website right here. So you have a blessed day and have fun stamping.